Good morning, Mr. Mayor, colleagues, guests. It's an honor for me to join you in celebrating the life and legacy of B. Gilmore. I was sad to learn of Miss Gilmore's passing, but I am glad that we have this opportunity to remember the contributions that Gilmore made to our community. As we've heard, she was a true Portland trailblazer, the first African-American nurse to graduate from the OHSU School of Nursing. I feel a particular and personal debt of gratitude to Miss Gilmore. Here's why. I know what it's like to be one of the first people of color to hold an important job serving the people of Portland. I also know that I would not be a city commissioner today if it were not for the generations of Portland trailblazers who came before me. If you can hear my voice today, if you can see me, it is because I stand upon the shoulders of giants like Beatrice Gilmore, and I am not unique. If you are a Portlander who has set down roots in this community with the intent of living your best life, if you are a Portlander who is deeply committed to caring for your community, if you are a Portlander who is committed to opening doors for people who look like you, and if you are a Portlander who is deeply committed to opening doors for people who look nothing like you, then you too stand upon the shoulders of Portland pioneers like Beatrice Gilmore. Colleagues, for these reasons and more, I'm honored to join you in honoring the life and legacy of Beatrice Gilmore. May she rest in peace. Thank you.
Mayor Wheeler and council members, it is so good to see you. Some of you had the honor to meet my mom, and sadly, she did pass on December the 29th, but she lived a long, full life. And the love and light that she shared with people in this community will continue for many generations. And I'd just like to say that her vision and her mission for an equitable, robust public healthcare system is what fueled her energy for the years that she lived and worked in this community. She really wanted to make sure that healthcare was available, mental, physical, emotional healthcare was available to all peoples. And so I would say that the legacy for the city of Portland would be to be sure we invest in public healthcare for all people that live in our city so that all can be well and can participate in the life that the city can so vibrantly offer to, that we can offer to one another. I will turn over to Ed, and Ed, go ahead and share your reflections.
Well, my reflections of Lavita's mother, B. B was really my sister's best friend. They were in each other's wedding. We met B and her family in Vanport, and B was such a gracious person. And such a wonderful person. And I remember when B started nursing training up at OHSU, she was the first African-American to be admitted. And I remember asking B, I was working up at OHSU at the time when she was a student, and I used to always, you would always hear the student nurses coming because they wore a uniform that had a smock that was just starched like nobody's business. And that starch would be making it whenever they walk, you would hear it. And I remember seeing B up there, and I asked her after she graduated, I said, B, how was it for you being the first African-American? And she said, Ed, it was tough. It was very tough. And she shared with me a story. She said that she had to go in to see a patient who was quite ill, but she was not ill enough to treat B with disrespect because of the color of her skin. Mm-hmm. And she told B, I'm not going to let, and she used the N-word, black hands touch me. And I said, B, what did you do? She says, Ed, I'm a nurse. She says, I treated her. She said, I just told her, you're going to have to let these hands touch you today because I've been assigned to work with you and I'm going to do my job. And that's the kind of person B was. And I know that with us working together, she and I, on the Fair Housing Council of Oregon, I remember B is a very humble lady, very strong, but very, very humble. And I remember asking her, I said, B, they need another person to help on the Fair Housing Council tours. And I said, I've been asked to ask if you would like to do it. And she said, Ed, I don't know if I can do that. She says, I don't know if I have that much to offer. And I said, B, you have as much to offer as anybody else. And so she went home and thought about it. And fast forward a little bit later, she says to me, she says, Ed, I'm so glad you encouraged me and urged me to be part of that. And we're going to miss B on those tours. We're going to miss B for lots of reasons. And just one quick story. When she was going to nurses training, she was attending Vancouver Avenue Baptist Church, and that many of you know where that church is. And her father was a deacon. And I don't even remember Mr. Cannon's first name because he was always referred to as Deacon Cannon by everybody in the community. And the church, knowing that B didn't have a lot of money, they helped her. So they gave her a job at church, putting away the chairs after Sunday service. And sometimes when B would be real busy in school, she would call me and she says, Ed, can you come put away the chairs for me today? I've got to study tomorrow for a class. And, those are just wonderful memories. I'm going to miss her. We're all going to miss her. But, she touched so many people. And I may have encouraged her 38, 40 years later, but she will never know how much that dollar or two meant to me as a 14-year-old kid. So that's all I have to say about B. Okay.